Yeah.
We're going to, I'll be speaking to the town board tonight, and, we've started the process under the IDA's leadership of really trying to do a survey of potential projects and sites around the county. The impression I have of this part of the county is very positive. They have infrastructure in pretty good shape. They have broadband, they're better than most. But one of the targets I think we have of attracting business here would be heavy on broadband, maybe data centers, something like that, low impact to the community, but bringing very nice paying jobs, and really, then you can build off of that data center what they bring to do some open development. But small scale, low impact, very positive. Talk to us a little bit about what federal resources might be available. I know the broadband issue's been a big federal issue.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what you know that's out there that could be assistance with that, and what assistance your office can do.
So there's two basic programs of federal support for expansion of broadband. One of them comes by way of the USDA, and that's through the Rural Utilities Service, the RUS. This was just reauthorized in the Farm Bill. And so what you have is you have a series of programs including low interest loans and grants. The grants being for telemedicine and for schools that help with the backbone for a particular area, and then the low interest loans are generally available for anyone, but particularly used by smaller companies. That's one thing in upstate New York, we do have more than our share, which is a good thing, of smaller entities that play a role. So, like for example, here in this county, Otsego Electric, the co-op, tries to play a positive role. We've tried to move some of the federal legislation to make it more conducive for them to get access to some of these programs. So, our office can help with applications if there was interested, and that's one area. The other area has been a source of frustration of mine. The other area actually has more money in it. That's the Connect America Fund that comes by way of the FCC's Universal Service Fund. But the issue right now is the rules as currently construed are such that the big companies get access to the Connect America Fund. And my frustration has been is they don't use it. So if they're not using the money, it's no small amount of money. It's $4.5 billion in this account. So it can make a big difference. In New York State, we have had one of the big companies, Frontier, has actually accessed it and had some progress. But getting some of the other big companies to move on that, we have not been successful. So I'm trying to make a difference on this. I'm saying if you're not using the money, then allow our smaller companies, including the co-ops, to get access to it. So I think that would be the biggest structural change that can help us, is changing the rules with regard to the Connect America Fund. But at the moment, really, the support for our area from the federal level comes predominantly through, unless we can convince Verizon, or one of the other big carriers to take on a project. Now, one thing you do got going for you in Otsego County is what ION has done. So, the ION, sort of the middle mile, if you will, has, I think, set the condition for some of the last mile challenges. So that's been an investment that's come pretty much across the suite of Central New York. Thank you for Senator Stewart, and very helpful on that score as well. And so I think that that's something that we can potentially leverage, is what backbone IONs put in the counties. Yeah.
Just, I want to introduce my colleague, Elizabeth Horvath. She's we were waving staff. Elizabeth is the COO for the IDA, and she's been taking the lead on the broadband initiative for the county and for the IDA. We've talked to ION. One pleasant thing I want to report is that the rural electric cooperative folks have been wonderful to deal with. Very open, proactive, wanting to be part of the solution. They're embracing their role, historic role cooperatives, where they initially it was electric to get electric to America. Now they're ready to embrace broadband in the same challenge. So we've been talking to them, we've been talking to multiple partners, and it's a top priority idea. So we'll be calling.
What about, yeah, absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. What about, has anybody had any conversations with, anytime you bring in the nanotechnology, there's a requirement for a tooling industry that goes with it. And, that might be worthwhile, is just to find out where the area is in terms of the second order businesses that support nanotechnology. Has there been any move yet on that? That might be, you've got got some assets going for you in addition to this great school. Your Kinney's delivers home. That's always I mean, they'll deliver groceries, and I think that's a good thing when you move all about, and when you hear from seniors, particularly, who are concerned about how they can get access to. You think about the assets that you have here, and how you might be able to be attractive to a business that wants to come in that we think is coming. Also, this farm bill piece. If you think about the growth of hops, might there be some? And here you might want to just have a conversation with Simon Thorpe, and listen to his vision for growth, because he's committed to the area. I was very impressed when I went to Umagang, and his hires are local, almost entirely local hires from the area, and he is, heretofore he's been getting his hops from overseas, but he's made a commitment to hops here locally now. So that, I think, is going to make a difference for his business, cut down on some of his transportation and overhead costs, and there may be a need for, Mr. Lenz, go ahead.
In the same vein, then, perhaps we need a malt house, okay? Because any farmer can grow barley here, and most of them have the machinery to harvest it. You need to make two grow barley for beer. But we don't have a malt house. You have to malt beer before you can turn the starches into fermentable sugars. Last I heard, the closest malt house was in Hamilton, Ontario. So that's a real niche thing for the brewing industry. Got a lot of microbrewers here, and I think that expertise could be developed here with the right kind of encouragement.
That's a good idea. Having somebody now as a single point of contact from the county that can look into these matters and report back to both the legislature and the town and village leaders, I think, can be facilitating. Taking an idea like that and find out if there's anything in the offing. That's good.
In fact, we've been working as part of a work group for the county, in which Hardwick is represented because of their hops initiative, and her name is Carla Ficano, and she's been appointed by Dr. Drogovich, the president of Hardwick, to be the point person on craft beer and food type initiatives. So there's a lot of discussion going on right now to get our arms around this initiative. And so no, I hadn't heard that one yet before, so that's very valuable. Could you just expand on the farm bill a little bit? And first of all, thank you. Your staff was very kind to set up a conference call with Carly and myself and Mayor Oleanta with Brad Gentili, your Deputy Chief of Staff, on the farm bill last week. Part of this initiative is to grow processing capacity for value-added products, whether it's vegetables, whether it's dairy, whether it's meat, whatever it is. The need is not to do that in a central hub, but to support the ag businesses where they are in these communities. Is there anywhere where you think the farm bill could assist with that type of help with any capital funds for equipment?
Absolutely. So the rural development portion can be helpful on this, and that's one of the things that Sullivan County tapped in. They also had a REAP zone designation that facilitated, but that's not required to get this done. So, and as you know, when you and I, actually I don't think you were in the meeting, but I was meeting with Senator Seward and Mayor Miller, and we were talking about the existing monies that are available right now and some ideas where he could actually get some of that same local processing done. Now, what we did for marketing is we tripled the amount of resources for marketing, and we expanded the definition. The definition for marketing now also includes aggregation, so that it will provide support for some of the packaging. That's one of the challenges we have. We have seen a significant growth in the fruits and vegetable, but the challenge is getting it to market before it spoils. Keeping in mind that one of the value addeds itself is the less amount of preservatives we're using. I mean, that's one of the things that's most attractive to our product that's moving to New York City. So now you have this challenge of, how can you either move it in a timely fashion, or might there be ways to use technology to package it in such a way that it doesn't require as much preservatives to get it to where the major metropolitan areas, like the 20 million people that are down in Now, there is right now, so SUNY Sullivan is looking at this very same enterprise, and they're talking about working with SUNY Morrisville. So, there is cooperation that's going all throughout not only the Southern Catskills, but the central part of New York. So, there might be a possibility in your discussions to link up with the president there and see what she's planning there, and there could be some synergies to be done throughout the area. But the Farm Bill does have, between the rural development, the marketing piece of it, there are federal incentives here to be supportive of this. Not to mention, let me say that we had some success in organics, which for the first time in a Farm Bill, that we helped with research money. There's $100 million in new money into organics research. The community is very excited about this because I've seen some breakthroughs on this. The organic endeavor is one that's particularly challenging. You have to go through a very arduous 5-year process to get certified, and it can be very, very difficult. But the clientele, the demand for it is actually on the rise. So finding a way to see that be successful is one of the things we try to do in the Farm Bill with the research. And then also we sustained a program that supports with the certification process. So there's actually some federal monies to go for this process, this 5-year process. There's some federal monies to help with defraying some of the cost for going through the certification process. And then finally, including in the organic community, is we allow them to pull together and promote themselves. That had never been done before, because if you were organic, say milk or dairy, or if you were organic fruit and vegetables, you were always classified by your product. So you were you weren't classified as organic, you were classified as fruits and vegetables, or you were classified as dairy. And why that makes a difference is if you think about some of the most successful marketing programs you've seen today, how about like Got Milk? Everybody's seen that, right? Or beef, it's what's for dinner, right? This actually was facilitated by this promotional program, this checkoff program. And we gave now the organic community, and now for the first time, has this authority to do that among themselves, so it allows for their creative juices to be flowing. So I'm not sure the degree to which the interest is right now in Otsego County, but that capability is there. And that's one other feather, or one other arrow to have, in your interest of economic development. Yes, sir.
This spring, we experienced a shortage of wood pellets, fuel pellets. I had trouble buying them a couple months ago for my mom, and this represented circumstances around a perfect storm of supply and demand. Okay, I won't get into the whole thing, but what we don't have here is sufficient supply to meet the demands at certain times like that, or maybe all the time next year. I don't know. And but I don't see a source of biomass pellets made from grass. We have grass, okay, and we don't use it for fuel, and a lot of the land goes fallow. So we can look at keeping that agricultural land in service, by harvesting perhaps off-spec grass products to make fuel pellets with almost the same fuel potential as premium wood pellets.
I'm not an expert at that. That may be true. I have toured the wood pellet facility in Deposit. This is the New England wood manufacturing facility that does the pellets, and I'm actually bullish on their future. I think they're doing well.
There's one in Frankfurt too.
Yeah.
If I may interrupt.
Yeah. So I know about that, and I'd certainly be willing to work with if somebody wanted to explore the possibilities, because we did have a fairly robust biofuels section in the Farm Bill, not only to help with the pellets, but also the community wood program. And we have a candidate for that in our district, which is pretty exciting. It's Fleischman's is interested in that community wood project. They've actually done a study so far. So that's a possibility that we could explore. We take a note on that. I don't know how you want to organize, but I see that as absolutely as a potential. Up there in the corner, in the back.
Dan Sullivan had brought to our board's attention last month about a meatpacking company that didn't go through in Frankfurt and in Rome. And being that this is an agricultural area, what could be done to assist us in looking at that aspect too, being that there's a company that's ready to be in this area?
Okay, so this is an area where we have seen this in the past. So Sullivan County, that's what essentially they've done, is a red meat facility. So, we have Todd Early that has experience on this, so, and our office can help. That is, if you're able to land something like that, that's helpful to our area. So, I mean, that's another note I've got down here.
If I could add to Lori's statement on that, it actually was two separate enterprises that there was an organic meat packing facility that was trying to go into Rome. The gentleman is out of Syracuse, and the Frankfurt project was a different person, different organization. So one was larger than the other. The organic was on the order of about 400 animals a day, whereas the Frankfurt proposal had something about 10, 50, 1,100 animals a day. So, the discussion, there was no organized discussion, but we thought a 400 animal facility might fit better into a place like
Yeah.
that.
So, just having somebody reach out and have that, because who knows right now where the company is, whether or not they've made a decision, and where they're gonna go. And assuming that they're still exploring, that's something you can certainly put together a package that you can bid on. Yes, sir.
Is there federal money available to expand the natural gas line out of the village along the Route 20 corridor to help draw business, out further out of the area?
I'm not aware. Steve Bolter, you do?
No, not normally.
Yeah, I'm not aware that there's any federal money for that.
Because the gas is here, but I mean, if the natural gas was out, it might get more companies to come in and hook up to the cheaper fuel to run their businesses,
Yeah. No, I'm not aware of any federal money. I know that is an emotional issue here in the county on how to deal with.
Well, no, it's here, but it just,
Yeah.
it needs to be put along Route 20 corridor or 28 corridor or something that, far as it's something to draw more business in because of the cheaper heat. I mean, it's just like Walmart in Cherry Springs. I'm sure Walmart wouldn't have built a distribution center if they had to buy fuel oil to heat that building.
Yeah. Now, I know what was done here is that the local folks here, I think, organized into an LLC and engaged with conversations with the pipeline in terms of what kind of support that they would provide for schools and for businesses and for potential local use of the proposed pipeline that's coming up from Pennsylvania. So, I mean, if
Well, we have the pipelines, they're all here.
No, I know what you're saying, but as far as expansion of it.
Yeah, but expanding outside of the village.
Keith, I have found that there's state money available for that, but it's gotta be linked to jobs. So if you have a site that you're looking at and you get a commitment, a part of the condition is that you get natural gas to them, those job creation can then go chase some community renewal money or potentially Empire State Development. So that would be infrastructure funds, but you have to have that end job creation committed to be able to drive it.
So what the feds do to help with that is, that's that community development block grant money. So we send X amount of money down to the states, but then we really leave it up to the states to decide where it ends up going. And that's how you learn about and engage with the community, the consolidated funding application.
And all that money, all that CDBG money now is through the CFA, right? Is that correct?
I'm not sure it's 100%.
It's not most of it. Right now, it's actually just been announced last week that there's $7.1 million available for the Mohawk Valley region. And what happened is the last CFA, they carved an amount out of it to be done separately, and they've swept some unused money, and they just announced last week 7.1. So we're actually looking for projects now to submit proposals.
If I could, Congressman and I had a conversation about Adam Helmer earlier today, and he mentioned that in his opening remarks. It's interesting, today's the Boston Marathon, and today's Patriots Day is a state holiday in Massachusetts. And the Patriots Day holiday commemorates the ride of Paul Revere. Paul Revere rode around the outskirts of Boston and warned everyone that the British were coming. We have a guy, New York State, who had a guy by the name of Adam Helmer, who did it on foot. He ran 42 2 miles on September 16th and 17th, 1778, to warn the farmers along the route that he took that the Indians, the British allied Indians, were coming to destroy property and to kill people if they found them. He saved somewhere in the vicinity of 230 lives. In fact, only 3 people died from that Indian raid, although the properties were lost. And of course, there was a movie, Drums Along the Mohawk. Many of you have probably seen it, if not all of you. Adam Helmer is easily the equal of Paul Revere in terms of historical importance and hero quality of the American Revolution. Yet, we don't have that much here. What I had asked the Congressman about was, could we possibly start an Adam Helmer trail? And the first segment of which might be starting here in Richfield Springs and going out to Baker's Beach. And I'm hoping that we can generate some interest on that and get some money together for that. What it also does is it improves walkability in the community. And I think that that's essential for Richfield Springs. We need a walkable community because we have lots of residents who do not drive. If you'll notice it, those of us who drive along Main Street, you see the residents walking to Price Chopper. Okay? We need a walkable community. We need people to not get in their cars and drive around and have fun, get on their bikes and have fun. If we get that trail going, we possibly might have that recreation facility. And by the way, tourism, research shows that the highest dollar spending for tourism is historical tourism.
So, for example, if that was something that you wanted to pursue, there's actually an application process open right now. Not to force you guys into an early decision, but if you wanted to move into something like that, if you had an application in by the 11th of June, you would be eligible for this competition right now. And we would come in and support you with a letter of support. So, but even if you're not ready to move now and you decide to get in the next one, then we would support you in that too. But there is an open process right now under the New York Transportation Alternatives Program that gets federal money out of MAP 21. MAP 21 is our federal surface transportation bill.
Just on the natural gas expansion, we actually assisted a town in Rensselaer County who approached us with asking for us to kind of advocate for them to get their natural gas line expanded into a more residential area outside of their commercial area. And what we communicated to the provider to National Grid was the benefit of them expanding their natural gas line. There were a string of small businesses that did not have access to the natural gas line, and there were a string of homes that did not have access to the natural gas line. And we were able to consolidate all that information and attach it with a letter from our office and send it to National Grid, and they agreed to expand the natural gas line. It's going to take a couple of years to actually get it expanded, but it is in the works of that happening. And we were able to support that and help them through that process.
So it's a general area where we can help advocate with the company if that's something the community wants to do. That's something. Other thoughts?
How about senior housing?
Senior housing, okay, so this,
What do you use there?
yeah, so we've had, there have been some positive developments on